Hello, how you doing? I'm Janet and I'm back to read you another wonderful book. I cannot wait to see you in person again in all your beautiful faces. But in the meantime, we'll do it this way because it really is better than nothing, right? We're going to read a book today. It's called Karen's Heart. That is Karen, and it's the true story of a brave baby orangutan written by Georgianne Irvine, who works at the San Diego Zoo. And this is one special story about a very exceptional little orangutan. In fact, look at this. This is when she was just a little baby. Karen actually is a Sumatran orangutan with wild and crazy orange hair. And she was only 2 days old when she was rushed to the baby animal nursery at the San Diego Zoo. And that's because her orangutan mother didn't know how to nurse Karen. So Karen wasn't getting enough to eat. Her keepers at the zoo were very concerned. In fact, they decided people would now need to care for Karen until she was strong enough to live with her orangutan family again. There she is, all wrapped in a beautiful little blanket there at the nursery, there at the zoo, and to keep her warm made all the difference. Look at that, with her keeper watching over her. And they also had a little diaper for Karen to wear to make sure that she stayed clean. Just like human babies, right? I bet you wore a diaper when you were a baby. Oh, look at that face. That's Karen. Isn't she sweet? Now, Karen was, in fact, a very sweet baby ape who made funny faces when she was tickled behind her ears or on her tummy. Her lips were soft and wrinkly and very flexible. In just a short time, Karen won over the hearts of her caretakers. When she was hungry, she made funny sounds. She chirped and squealed and let her nursery moms know that it was time to eat. And she drank from that bottle. Can you see? A bottle that looked just like that. And her burps, well, she had to burp, so she did. At first they were kind of quiet, and then they got louder. And sometimes, well, Karen even farted. Oh my goodness. But everybody giggled just like you are right now, and me too, right? It's kind of funny. Look at this. Rub-a-dub-dub. Can you see Karen there? She was being scrubbed, but not in a tub because she was too small. She was in a sink, and she loved playing with the warm water. She made a game out of the spray by catching it in her mouth. She loved it. And then the water would dribble down her chin, but she didn't mind the soap suds because her nursery moms lathered her with baby shampoo that didn't sting her eyes. And once she was clean, Karen's hair was dried with a blow dryer, which made it stick straight up. Let's take a look. Look at that. Her hair sticking straight up. Look at that cute face. Oh my goodness. You could see the blow dryer there, right? In the top picture, right there. And Karen also loved her little teddy bear that really kept her company. It was so warm and cuddly. She loved it. Oh my goodness, what's that? That's Karen's hair. Yep. She loved playing the puff game. Karen loved playing it so much because, well, it would make her hair funny and it made it feel good on her face. In fact, she liked the feel of it on her face and her mouth. Isn't that sweet? But she did have funny hair when she got that blow dryer on it, didn't she? Let's see what else. Oh my, look at how big she's gotten. There she is, hanging out. Karen was a year old now, and she was strong enough to be reunited with her orangutan family. She did not need her bottle anymore. Now she could eat fruits and vegetables and orangutan kibble on her own. Fernando and Mike, the orangutan keepers, were so happy to have her back at the orangutan exhibit. Yes, they were. Who's that? Is that Karen? No, that's Karen. She didn't get big that fast. No, but there is a little story here to tell, so take a look. Since Karen's mother, Carter, was moved to another zoo, an older female orangutan named Josephine adopted Karen as if she were her own. And the pair played on the giant jungle gym together. They snuggled with each other when they slept, and they ate all their meals together. Visitors came from all around the world to visit cute and playful little Karen there with her adoptive mother. In fact, she learned the ways of orangutans from Josephine there, who was a very loving mother and very, very good teacher too. And there she is with one of her keepers. That's Fernando. Can you see that? Yeah. Now, since Fernando was with Karen every single day, she knew, well, he knew actually, that, well, she wasn't feeling so well. He was concerned. So, look at her face. She just wasn't playing as readily as she could or as actively as the other orangutan babies were. She just wasn't herself. So Fernando decided that, well, maybe she should get an examination by the doctors, right? So look at that. See that? That is Karen's exam. When a San Diego Zoo veterinarian examined her, she found that Karen had a heart murmur, and this meant that her heart wasn't working properly. Several heart specialists called cardiologists also examined Karen, and these doctors worked with people, but they thought, well, they could help Karen since orangutan hearts and human hearts are very similar. Did you know that? Yeah, orangutan hearts are very much like our hearts, like human hearts. That's interesting, isn't it? So there she is with one of the caregivers there. They discovered that Karen actually had been born with a penny-sized hole between two chambers in her heart. For Karen to lead a healthy, normal orangutan life, well, the hole would have to be repaired. Karen needed open heart surgery, which had never been done before on an orangutan. Without it, she could die at a very young age. So Karen would have to be very, very brave. She would have to have that surgery in order to make her feel better and live a long, healthy life. There she was right before her surgery. Look at that. She got some really good food, a yummy breakfast, grapes and bananas, apples and oranges and papayas. But she only picked at her carrots and broccoli. But for just this one time, Fernando, her keeper, wasn't worried that Karen didn't get her vegetables. He was very concerned about the surgery that Karen was going to have to get very, very soon. In fact, look at that. The next day, because as soon as Karen finished her breakfast, Fernando placed her inside an animal transport crate and then drove her to the zoo hospital. Keeper Mike there carried her inside to the exam room. Now look at Karen. She was getting bigger. 22-pound Karen was scrubbed clean in a big metal tub. Surgery was scheduled for the next morning. So hopefully the surgery would go well and Karen would be back to new. Look at that surgery. Oh my, that is one big surgery center there for Karen, right? Look at all the doctors and nurses. She had two of the best doctors working on her with dozens of nurses and other doctors and veterinarians there to help. And there is the surgery. You can see the doctors are working hard. The surgery took actually more than 2 hours to complete, and they connected, well, what they did was they actually sewed the hole together. Yeah, the infant orangutan was connected to a heart-lung machine to keep her alive, and to patch the hole, the doctors stitched a small piece of tissue from Karen's heart sac over that open area. Isn't that amazing? And when the surgery was over, Karen started to wake up. And at that point, everyone cheered. They were so happy. They were hoping that everything went well with the surgery and that Karen would live a long, healthy life. And there she is right after the surgery. Can you see that? Well, unfortunately, right afterwards, that night, everything wasn't well. Karen had trouble breathing because her chest was sore from the surgery and her lungs had filled with fluid. So doctors came back to the zoo to help Karen. They hooked her back up to a breathing machine called a ventilator, which pumped air into Karen's lungs to help her breathe. She needed that help to keep her alive. For 2 weeks, Karen was in critical condition at the zoo hospital. The doctors were concerned that Karen might not survive. Every day it was still painful for Karen to breathe. Whenever the doctors tried to take her off the ventilator, they had to put her right back on it again because her lungs were not filling up all the way with air. And of course, if your lungs don't have air, you can't breathe, and then you can't live. So they were there to help her with the machine. Get well soon. That was the message for Karen. She needed around-the-clock care. Dozens of nurses and doctors from all over San Diego volunteered to help the zoo's veterinary staff care for Karen. News media from around the world carried stories about Karen's fight for survival. Get well cards poured in from everywhere. Children and adults wrote letters to Karen, telling her to be brave, including this one from Jenny, who lives in San Diego. Dear Karen, my name is Jenny, and I'm 5 years old. I heard about your surgery from my daddy. I thought about you all day. I know it can be pretty scary to be in the hospital because I, too, was recently diagnosed and in the hospital. I was actually diagnosed with leukemia, and I actually spent over a month at a children's hospital, and now I'm home. I'm looking forward to visiting you as soon as I'm able. Listen to your doctors and nurses and take your medicine. I hope yours tastes better than mine. Love, Jenny. And Jenny, I have some good news. Jenny is now all grown up, and she's a nurse at a children's hospital in San Diego, and she comes to visit Karen quite often from what I understand. So let's see what happens here. Oh my, look at that. Karen is looking at her get well card there. 2 weeks after the surgery, Karen began to breathe on her own. She was going to be okay. The veterinarians, doctors, keepers, and all of her friends from around the world cheered for Karen. Get well, Karen. Get back in the sunshine. There she is. Oh, look at that. She's getting a lot of love. Yep, 10 days later, Karen was strong enough to be able to move from the zoo hospital to the orangutan bedrooms, which are next to the exhibit. And for a while, she was kept away from the other orangutans so she could continue to heal and get stronger. Karen's keepers put lots of fun things in her room, including a hanging log she could swing on and a hammock for naps. And her favorite TV shows, of course, were animal programs and cartoons. Oh, look at that. Karen is getting bigger and stronger all the time. Finally, a big, big day for Karen. Yes, indeed. On a warm autumn morning, a crowd of doctors, nurses, vets, news reporters, and zoo staff gathered outside the orangutan exhibit. Keeper Mike, wearing a big smile on his face and a t-shirt that read, "We opened our hearts for Karen," carried precious Karen into the grassy enclosure. This was her very first day outside in the fresh air since her surgery. So a very, very important day. Look at her. Oh my. Let's see what happens. Look at that face. So cute. She's out. She's playing again. The zoo worker said there's a sparkle in her eyes that weren't there before. She's more bubbly and energetic, said her keeper, Fernando. She's better than ever, said keeper Mike. When Karen finally reunited with Josephine and the rest of her orangutan family, she was healthier than she had ever been in all of her life. Look at that. She's playing, she's climbing, she's hanging out. She's just having a great time. She's feeling so good now. And look at that. Guess who that is? That is Karen today, all grown up. She got big, didn't she? And now she's hanging out with other babies. This is a little baby black bear. Or no, I'm sorry, that's a black ape. That makes more sense. Yep, one of her best friends, a little baby black ape. And Karen, I should tell you, is famous for her somersaults. Her favorite way to move around the ground is by rolling sideways across the grass. She also twirls while standing upright on her feet. She's a happy little girl now. Not so little anymore, though. Look at that. She got big and strong, and now she's loving it at the zoo and having a great time and living out her life with a healthy heart. Karen's heart. She was brave for sure, and she made it through. Did you like that story? I know I did. And by the way, next time you see me, it'll be the story of Mosi and Musa. Yeah, that's the next story that I'll read to you next time I see you. In the meantime, you take care of yourself, you behave, and we will see you very, very soon. You take care now. Bye.